So, I'm getting ready to start my school year, and even though it's the middle of summer, I am dressed in a big, bulky sweatshirt because it got cold, probably because it's nighttime. I got sucked into doing some different Google Slides work, and all of a sudden it was cold. Today, though, I'm going to share this story called Those Shoes. And I love to start the school year off with kind of a shoe theme. Because one thing that helps readers and writers do well with understanding a story that's been written or writing a story is being able to put themselves in another person's shoes. So I found all these cool books to share with you that have something to do with shoes. So you'll see that coming right along here. And here it is, Those Shoes by Mary Boltz, illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. And readers understand a story better when they put themselves in the character's shoes. And Miss Johnson. It could be one character or multiple, but I'm going to say it's one character and it's the shoes belonging to the character. So there's my apostrophe. It's a good thing to revise your work or edit it. When we put ourselves in the character's shoes, we can better understand the character's emotion, maybe because we felt it before, we know how we would feel. We can have empathy for that person. We can understand better what they're going through. We can feel for them. We can appreciate the situation. We can make a connection to another book we've read, to ourselves and an experience that we have had. And finally, we can probably understand the author's message. What is the author or the character trying to teach us about this situation? So again, readers understand a story better when they put themselves in the character's shoes. I'm going to say this many, many times over the school year. So with this story, Those Shoes, see if you can put yourself in the character's shoes. Oh, and my copy is flagged and marked for different reading lessons. I have dreams about those shoes, black high tops, 2 white stripes. Here he is. There are those shoes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want round here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Anybody ever really, really wanted something and parents have said, you can't afford that right now, not spending money on those kinds of things? And everybody else has them? I sure have. Brandon T. comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner. Now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid ever watched. So put yourself in Jeremy's shoes right now. How is he feeling? How is the author showing you how he's feeling? When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at Mr. Alfie's shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence, Brandon T., and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, How kind of Mr. Alfie. I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes. And my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might burst. Sounds like a rough day. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I got a little bit of money set aside. Might be enough. You never know." At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. "Maybe they wrote it down wrong," I say. Grandma shakes her head. Grandma seems like a really nice person. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoe except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. "How exciting," Grandma says. "What size are they?" I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. "I don't know, but I think they fit." I love the illustrations. I don't know if you can see his facial expressions, but it should give you a hint. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoe. "Jeremy," she says, "I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit." I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. "They're okay," I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. So again, put yourself in his shoes and think about the emotions you'd be feeling right now. And can you understand his feelings? At home, a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. "Sometimes shoes stretch," I say. Grandma gives me a hug. I really like Grandma. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfie to school instead. One day, during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio is there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfie shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape from Antonio's shoes smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. "Do what?" Antonio says, breathing hard. And you can see how the author is emphasizing the words. What do you think Jeremy is thinking about doing that he's struggling inside for? Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time, thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfie shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall. It's then I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots. New black boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. Those shoes. So there were a lot of things in this book, obviously, and if you put yourself in the character's shoes, I'm pretty sure you got the message of this story. And as a fifth grader, if you're hearing this from my class, I want you to be thinking about not only what you understood from the story in terms of like main ideas and details, but as a writer, what did this author do to really make you feel like you were inside this story? So those are some thoughts we'll talk about, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll share another book with you soon.